The second half of tonight's homework is solving systems by either substitution or elimination. So it's just another review session. So first thing we'll want to do is, when we use substitution, is look for the equation where x or y is by itself. If it's not, and we're using substitution, then we'll have a little bit more work. So I really only use this method when I have a variable by itself, and I do here. So I have this y minus 7 equals x. So I can take that y minus 7 and put it in place of x in the equation below. So I'll rewrite the equation below, negative y minus 2, but in place of x, we write y minus 7. And this all equals 8. So we go ahead and do some work there. We're going to distribute that negative 2 over that subtraction. So when we do that, we're left with a negative y minus 2y plus 14 equals 8. So you see we're multiplying the two negatives there, and that's why we get the positive. And so we're just going to do some opposite operations. We're going to subtract that 14 from both sides. And when we do that, we'll also collect these two terms. Now notice they're both the same sign, so I need to add them together. That gives me negative 3y. This all equals negative 6. So I can go ahead and do some division there. Divide by negative 3. And when we do that, we're now left with y equals 2. Well, y is 2. We still need to find x. So let's go ahead and substitute. Let's put that 2 back in for this y right here and solve for x. So x equals 2 minus 7. Which is negative 5. So there it is. X is negative 5, and when y is positive 2. So we'll write that answer as an ordered pair, negative 5, comma 2. Well, let's take a look at the next one. Next one has something a little bit trickier here because, first of all, we got y by itself, so that's a little different, but we also have a fraction as a coefficient of x. So let's see what happens when we deal with this. So we'll take this y term here, negative 1/2 x plus 9. Let's put it in for the equation down below in place of this y here. And so we'll rewrite our equation. So we now have 3x minus 4, but in place of this y, we're going to write this equation, negative 1/2 x plus 9. And this all equals negative 6. So we're ready to distribute. Well, good thing 2 goes into 4, so we get rid of the fraction right away when we do the multiplication. So we are left here with that 3x. Got to bring that down. And then watch the multiplication here. Negative 4 times negative 1/2. Well, half of 4 is 2. So we have 2x there. Negative 4 times positive 9 makes a negative 36. So be real careful on the signs there. Negative times the positive made the negative. And this all equals negative 6. So now we're ready to solve. We can go ahead and do some opposite operations. We'll add that 36 to both sides. And when I do that, I can also collect these two terms here because they have the same variable raised to the same power. So now we have 5x equals 30. So you had to subtract because they're opposite in sign. And then we can do some division. So we'll divide by 5 on both sides. So now x equals 6. So we're going to take that 6 and we're going to substitute it. Put it in place of that x in the equation above, in that top equation. Let's rewrite what we've got now. So it's going to be y equals, but in place of this negative, or in place of this x, we're putting 6. So we'll have to multiply it with negative 1/2 by 6 and then plus 9. So we'll rewrite what we've got. So now it's y equals, now half of 6 is 3, and a negative times a positive makes a negative. So it's negative 3 plus 9, and that ends up making 6 altogether. So there it is, y equals 6 when x is 6. So we got our answer, 6 comma 6. Well, 2 more problems. These involve elimination, and it's good to use elimination on these because when you look at it, x's, y's, equal signs, and constants are all in line. So x is not by itself, y is not by itself, best to use elimination. Let's multiply this top one by negative 2. Now the reason I'm picking that is because this will make the x term negative 2x. And when I add these together, they will cancel. So all I'll be left with is the y term. But you got to continue to multiply. Negative 2 by y makes negative 2y. Bring down the equal sign. Negative 2 times 12 makes negative 24. So you're adding that stuff together. Let's see what we get when we do that. Well, the x's cancel. We're left with 3y equals, and then we got to do this subtraction here, and that makes 3. So from there, all we're going to do is do some division. Divide by 3, and we'll have our answer. So there it is. Y is 1. Well, we're not done yet. We still need to substitute back in to solve for x. So take that 1, put it in place of y there. Let's rewrite what we've got. X plus 1 equals 12. Well, there's just one step to do there. All you're going to have to do is subtract this 1 from both sides. And you'll have it. X is 11. So there it is. X is 11 while y is 1. And you've got your answer. Well, letter D looks a little bit tough. But what we can do is, as I look at this, I could try to multiply this one by 3 and this one by 2, and that would cancel out the y's, but then I would still have this big fraction to deal with. I see I could get rid of this fraction if I multiply by 3, but I see something even more. Let's try multiplying by 9. I'm actually going to multiply by negative 9. Let's see what happens when I do that. So when I do negative 9 times a third, see, I'll do it off to the side. 1/3 times by negative 9. Watch what happens. 3 goes into negative 9, negative 3 times. I'm left with negative 3. So that will cancel out the x term. And I don't have the fraction to deal with now. So I'll have some bigger numbers here, but let's see what we get. Negative 3x minus 27y equals negative 81. So I have some bigger numbers here, but I don't have any fractions anymore. And I'm getting the x's to cancel, all in one step. So let me bring this term down, this equation down. I got 3x. And it is a minus 2y. This all equals negative 6. So I'm ready to add this stuff together to get those x's to cancel. So those are gone now. Left with a negative 29y, and this all equals. I'm having to add these numbers together. That makes negative 87. When I look at it, if I do 29 times by 3, that should give me 87. Let's see if it does. It makes a 7 at the end. That's why I tried that number, because I knew it would make 7 at the end. And then that makes 2, so that makes 6 plus 2 makes 8. So yes, that does work out. So when I do that division, I'm going to end up getting y at 3, positive 3. So now we can take that 3 and just substitute. It doesn't matter which equation. I'm going to pick that top one before I modify, or the bottom one before I modify it, right there. And watch what happens. 1/3 times by 3. See, that 3 is going to cancel that 1/3. And then plus 3y equals 9. So these cancel out, leaving me just with 1 plus 3y equals 9. And then I still have to subtract the 1, so I end up with 3y equals 8. Do that division, and I got myself a fraction. That's okay, 8/3. So there it is. Oops, and that's not y. Let's see here. Did I make a mistake? I sure did. You see where I made the mistake? I put 3 in place of y, or x. I'm goofed up there. So let's erase what I've got there. So if you ever make a mistake like that, right away, you see, I know I definitely made a mistake because I saw I've got y and y. That doesn't make sense. So let's erase all this stuff here. That was all wrong. Hopefully you don't make that same mistake. Hopefully you caught it before you copied all this stuff down. Otherwise you got to erase like I'm erasing. Well, let's go back and try to fix our mistake here. So now let's do this again. It doesn't go in for x. What does it go in for? Y. So let's go ahead and put it in for this y right here. We'll scratch this out. So now we've got 1/3 x plus 3 times by 3 equals 9. Alright, this is going to end up working out a little better. 1/3 x plus 9 equals 9. Well, when I subtract that 9 from both sides, I'm getting 0. 1/3 x equals 0. Well, anything times 0 makes 0, so that must mean that When I divide by 3, or even I'll do this, I'll multiply by the reciprocal. You see, 3 times 0 makes 0, so x is 0. So my answer is 0, 3. That makes a little bit more sense. So don't make those little silly mistakes I made. Make sure that you end up substituting into the right number, or right variable, and also watch your signs, all that kind of good stuff. So those are some examples of substitution and elimination.